In the cold silence of deep space, a Terran colony named Arden IV lived in peace. The people there believed they were safe, far from war, far from danger. But peace never lasts forever. One quiet night, the stars above Arden began to fade, one by one, as if swallowed by shadows. Communication towers stopped working. The colony's central hub sent a single distress signal to Earth. Only 3 words were clear before the signal died. They are here. At the Terran command center, Captain Rhea Morgan watched the broken transmission. Static filled the screens. The sound of distant screams echoed for a second. Then silence. Every radar showed nothing, but Rhea felt something out there, a presence cold and waiting. The council thought it was a malfunction. But Rhea knew better. She replayed the signal again and again until suddenly, the screen flickered. For just a moment, an image appeared. Enormous black ships, covered in strange glowing symbols surrounding Arden IV. Then the image vanished. A moment later, a new transmission appeared. Not from humans, but from something else. A voice, metallic and sharp, spoke a single translated word: surrender. The command room went silent. Officers looked at each other in fear. Rhea clenched her fists, whispering, "Whoever they are, they've just declared war." Outside, in the endless dark, the stars seemed to move, hundreds of alien ships drifting closer to human space. And somewhere, far from any radar, the first Terran battle alarm began to sound. The silence was broken. The invasion had begun. The news of Arden IV's fall spread fast across the Terran colonies. People whispered in fear. Entire cities went dark as panic reached every corner of human space. The enemy's message, surrender, repeated on every communication channel like a haunting echo. Inside the great Terran Council Hall, leaders argued in confusion. Some wanted peace talks. Others shouted for evacuation. No one agreed, until Admiral Kane Draven, a veteran of the old wars, stood up. His voice was calm but sharp as steel. "We have seen fear before," he said. "But fear has never broken us, not now. Not ever." A hush fell over the hall. Kane pressed a button on the screen. The image of the alien fleet appeared, thousands of ships moving like a living storm. The sight was terrifying, but his eyes didn't flinch. "They think humans will surrender," he said slowly. "Let's remind them who we are." Outside the chamber, preparations began. The Terran fleet, hundreds of warships, started gathering near Saturn's orbit. Engineers worked day and night repairing old ships. Civilians joined as volunteers. Even miners from Mars sent their ships to be armed. Humanity was not surrendering. Humanity was preparing. Captain Rhea Morgan received her orders. Her ship, TSS Valiant, would lead the first strike if war came. She stared at the stars beyond the glass. The same stars that once looked peaceful now felt full of danger. In that moment, every human across the colonies understood one thing. The fight for survival had begun. And as the fleet assembled under Saturn's shadow, the Admiral whispered the code name for the mission that would decide everything: Operation Starfire. Darkness covered the edge of Saturn's orbit as hundreds of ships gathered in silence. Their metal hulls reflected the cold light of the rings. It was the largest Terran fleet ever formed. Old warships, new cruisers, and small fighter crafts, all waiting for a single command. Admiral Kane Draven stood at the center of the command bridge aboard the TSS Vanguard. Around him, screens glowed with red warning lights. Engineers shouted updates, pilots reported in. The countdown to Operation Starfire had begun. Meanwhile, Captain Rhea Morgan looked over her crew on the TSS Valiant. Every face showed the same mix of fear and fire. Most were young, some had never been in battle before. She walked through the deck, her voice steady. "No one out there believes we can win," she said. "That's why we will." Outside, giant carriers released squadrons of fighters for final testing. The sound of engines filled the comms. Every ship, every cannon, every torpedo was being readied. From the darkness beyond Neptune, a message arrived. Fragments of alien code. The Xyrix Dominion had detected their movement. The enemy was coming. Rhea stared at the holographic map as thousands of red signals began to appear, one after another. The alien fleet was on its way. The Admiral's voice echoed through every Terran ship. They thought humans would surrender. Show them what it means to be Terran. The silence of space broke as engines roared to life. The entire fleet turned toward the stars where Arden IV once stood. The storm had gathered. Now it was time to strike. The Terran fleet jumped through hyperspace. In seconds, darkness turned into chaos. The skies of Arden IV burned. The once green planet now floated under a red haze of explosions and smoke. The alien armada, massive, endless, and cold, surrounded the world like a cage. Captain Rhea Morgan's ship, TSS Valiant, arrived in the front line. Her eyes widened at the sight. Human cities below in ruins, enemy cruisers firing plasma storms from orbit. She didn't hesitate. All ships, form up. Target the nearest war carrier. Dozens of Terran ships moved in perfect formation. Rail cannons fired glowing streaks of light that tore through the void. Alien vessels exploded one after another, scattering debris like burning stars. But the Xyrix Dominion fought back with power no one had ever seen. Blue plasma cut through the battlefield, melting entire Terran cruisers. The comms were filled with static and screams, yet no one backed down. On the Vanguard, Admiral Kane Draven watched the chaos and gave the final order. Activate the solar spear. Full charge. Deep in the fleet, a giant weapon began to glow, a human creation built for one purpose, to burn through the heart of an enemy fleet. It needed time to charge, and Rhea's ship had to protect it. Her engines burned bright as she pushed forward, taking heavy fire. The Valiant shook, alarms screamed, but the crew kept fighting. Hold the line, she shouted. No one retreats! Outside, the space around Arden IV turned to fire. The first true battle between mankind and the Xyrix had begun, and humanity refused to blink. The battle over Arden IV raged for hours. The space around the planet was no longer dark. It burned with endless fire. Every explosion looked like a new sunrise. But for the Terran fleet, victory came with pain. Thousands of soldiers were gone. Entire ships disappeared into glowing dust. Yet still, the humans fought. Captain Rhea Morgan's ship, TSS Valiant, was badly damaged. Alarms screamed. Flames spread through the lower decks. Crew members ran to seal the breaches, their faces covered in smoke and blood. Engine power at 30%, shouted the officer. Rhea gritted her teeth. We don't stop. Not now. On the flagship Vanguard, Admiral Kane watched the casualty reports. Every name on the list was a piece of humanity's heart. The solar spear, the massive weapon was nearly charged, but they had one problem. A new alien flagship had appeared, larger than any ship they had seen before. It cut through space like a black mountain, firing a beam that sliced 3 Terran carriers in half. For a moment, silence fell across the comms. Then Rhea's voice broke through. Admiral, this is Valiant. We'll handle it. Her ship turned toward the alien giant. Engines roared, weapons glowed. Everyone on board knew what she planned, but no one stopped her. If this is humanity's end, she whispered, then let it burn bright. The Valiant accelerated straight toward the enemy flagship. The impact lit up the darkness like a newborn star. The solar spear reached full charge. Humanity's last hope was ready and waiting to fire. The explosion from TSS Valiant tore through the alien flagship like a sun being born. A wave of light spread across the battlefield, shaking every ship, friend and foe alike. For a brief moment, all sound vanished. Only the silent glow of sacrifice remained. Admiral Kane Draven stood frozen, staring at the bright wreckage on his screen. Rhea's ship was gone, but her final strike had opened a path. The alien formation was broken. Now, Kane ordered quietly, fire the solar spear. The command echoed through every Terran vessel. Deep inside the Vanguard, the giant weapon roared to life. A beam of pure white light shot forward, faster than thought, brighter than the sun. It tore through the Xyrix armada, splitting their ships apart in one endless flash. The dark space of Arden IV became a sea of burning light. When it was over, the alien fleet was gone. Only drifting ashes remained. Silence returned, but it was no longer empty. It carried the weight of victory and loss. Admiral Kane looked out at the stars and whispered, You asked if humans would surrender. You have your answer. Days later, across every human colony, that message was broadcast again and again. The name Rhea Morgan became legend, the captain who lit the stars with her courage. On the ruined orbit of Arden IV, a single Terran flag floated among the debris, glowing softly under the light of the sun. The galaxy would never forget that day, the day when humanity stood alone and burned the stars instead.